everyone, James Baek, and it's time for some more VGC 2015 battles from the Dolls Battle Spot Ladder. Today's team is a new team with Camerupt, Gastrodon, Amoonguss, Hariyama, and Escavalier. We're going to find two battles and see how we do. I will be bringing back the Talent Mega Mawa team, but I really want to try this Camerupt team. Our first opponent today will be 1679 from Canada. I'm on YouTube, apparently. Yes, you are, and we're going to see Terracotta team. This is the one time where I wish, unfortunately, I was not able to get the Mental Herb in time. I cannot find the Mental Herb, unfortunately. I know it's in Fortress City, and you have to talk to a guy with a Wingull, but you're supposed to find a girl with a Wingull that she sends to him, and I cannot find that. So if anyone knows where you can get the Mental Herb, that would be really helpful. Of course, let's talk about my opponent's team. My opponent's team doesn't seem to have a really good way to handle my team at all. As long as I can get Trick Room up, I should be golden here. So I'm going to lead Camerupt and Hariyama with Amoonguss and Camerupt in the back. Gastrodon seems pretty good in this game. However, there is the Whimsicott with a possible Grass-type move. Even though most Whimsicotts are a support variant, there is the possibility of that. I'm going to lead my standard lead of Camerupt and Hariyama just so I can get the fake out pressure and hopefully I can get the Trick Room set up. As Camerupt and Hariyama are going to lead against my opponents Bishop and Rotom, which I'm actually really okay with because I get a free Trick Room up and I can basically fake out the the Bishop. And that's what I'm going to do because I guess the play here for my opponent is it'd probably be to switch out into Whimsicott, but he's not going to do that as I get the fake out off onto Bishop, which is really nice. Bishop's unable to move, and he goes for the Will-O-Wisp into my Hariyama, which is actually going to activate my Guts ability, which is really nice, as Camerupt does get the Trick Room off. So this is actually a really ideal spot to be in. I got a Burn Hariyama, which doesn't seem good, but Guts will activate, so it's a 1.5 boost instead. I'm going to go for the Nightshade onto the Rotom, and I'm going to go for the Close Combat onto the Bishop. Just going to go for a safe play, even though Bishop's probably going to protect. I'd rather just make sure, but Rotom's going to protect. Probably we're going to see a double protect here. I would assume that. Yeah, Bishop's going to protect here too, which I'm fine with. He's going to try to stall out the Trick Room, which is really smart. But now this pretty much guarantees that the Bishop will be switching out this turn, so I'm going to double attack the Rotom. What I'm expecting is the Salamence to switch out for the Bishop, which I'm actually really fine with, because I can burn it next turn, and that will not be fun for the Salamence. Let's see, but Bishop's actually going to go for Sucker Punch, which is actually going to activate my, my Colbur Berry. I'm running Colbur Berry instead of the usual item, but actually that does help because his ability is now Mummy. It's not really pointful anyway, as I have nothing that could do that. Nightshade does activate onto the Rotom, and I do get the Close Combat off, which should do a lot of damage, which it does, and picks up the knockout on Rotom Wash, which is actually pretty nice. As Rotom Wash, without Rotom Wash now, Camerupt is really able to sweep this team. Wondering what my opponent will bring out, though. Of course, my Hariyama is getting severely damaged, unfortunately. I would assume Salamence would come out. Where's the Salamence? Whimsicott. Don't know what my opponent wants to do, but he's probably going to taunt the Camerupt and go for the Sucker Punch, or taunt and protect. I'm going to switch out into Camerupt and go for the Close Combat onto the Bishop. Whimsicott's not really an offensive threat, so I'm not really scared of it. And if Bishop switches out into Salamence, I'm fine with that, as my Camerupt actually does carry Hidden Power Ice, so I can actually hit the Camerupt for damage. As Whimsicott's going to go for Protect. Did he double Protect? As he did. Okay, I'm fine with that. My opponent's giving me a chance to get these switch-ins, which is really nice, as my Hariyama is going to take more damage, but I'm fine with that. And now I can Hidden Power Ice that slot and Close Combat, and it should be a safe KO. Because no matter who he switches into, if he switches into, I was assuming he brought Salamence. I really don't see why you wouldn't bring Salamence into this game. I'm kind of surprised his Bishop stayed in at Sucker Punch though, but I guess that's fine. That's kind of me for going straight for the Nightshade, where I probably should have went for another move. He is going to withdraw his Bishop into Salamence, I would assume. Yep, there's a Salamence, so that Salamence is going to be faint due to the Hidden Power Ice. Let's see what the Whimsicott does. Maybe a Worry Seed onto my Hariyama. Maybe, because that would actually be pretty clever of my opponent. As Camerupt does Mega Evolve, and Whimsicott does get the Tailwind up, so that's kind of interesting. I guess he's preparing for after the Trick Room setup, but Hidden Power Ice is going to connect with this Salamence, and that's going to pick up the knockout. Wow, Hidden Power Ice Camerupt. Wow. I'm glad I actually decided to choose you, and I get the Close Combat off onto the Whimsicott, which doesn't do much damage, but it breaks any potential Focus Sash, as Hariyama is quite low because of its defense drops. However, I will eat that Citrus Berry and heal back. Let's see, Twisted Dimensions return to normal, so he's out the Tailwind, but it really didn't help him, just because all my Pokemon are slow Trick Roomers anyway. As we see Bishop come out. That's fine with me. If I were my opponent, I would Encore the Camerupt and Ironhead my Hariyama. So I'm actually going to withdraw my Camerupt into Amoonguss and Hidden Power Ice the Whimsicott slot. You might be wondering why I don't go for Heat Wave. I'm really expecting the Encore onto Camerupt, as it's pretty much my only way. It's the only way my opponent can really come back from this. As I'm going to bring out Amoonguss as Whimsicott protects. Interesting play by my opponent. Oh, Bishop protects too. To be honest, I'm fine with that. As Hidden Power gonna fail onto the Whimsicott, I'm gonna go for the Hidden Power again, and I might as well Spore the Bishop, and I pretty much have this game sealed up. He really can't really get rid of my Camerupt even with a critical hit. He can't get rid of my Amoonguss without a critical hit knockoff, which might not even KO my Amoonguss, first of all. So I'm actually in a really nice position here where I can just freely Hidden Power Ice this Whimsicott for a KO, or I can put the Bishop to sleep. He can also taunt my Amoonguss, but really the Encore should be the play that my opponent's going to make. Maybe he doesn't have Encore. Taunt, Tailwind, and Protect are the three moves we've seen. So it's possible that it might. But Whimsicott's going to try to double Protect, as Bishop's going to go for the Sucker Punch into the Camerupt slot. Interesting, as that pretty much cost him the game, as I can Spore the Bishop. I probably should have went for the Heat Wave. I'm not assuming Encore at this rate anymore. He would have probably went for it by now. As I get the Hidden Power off onto the Whimsicott, which is going to pick up the KO, and I can safely Earth Power. Bishop has to take one turn of guaranteed sleep. And this will be the game, so I can just Earth Power and Giga Drain really to win. Or I'll just Rage Powder just to be safe. Even though there's nothing to be safe about, I pretty much guaranteed this game. You might be wondering that there is some lag. That is true because my computer is lagging again. OBS and my combination of editing software is being laggy. We're actually going to see a disconnect, but I did win that game technically. So we will be back for a second battle. I think I really played really well. I didn't expect the Bishop to switch out, to stay in the first time, but I did predict to switch out the second time. Anyway, we will find another battle and see how we do. Our second opponent of the day will be Necron, 1702, rating from Australia, and we're going to see a team of Terrakion, Heatran, Gengar, Rotom Wash, Scizor, and Mega Salamence. So a problem with this team is, number one, I don't have my Mental Herb. Oh, Mental Herb coming to bite me back. But I am going to have Cofagrigus and Amoonguss lead to prevent that taunt, and in the back I definitely want Camerupt, and as the last one, Hariyama seems pretty good here, but I don't need Hariyama. As you can see, Mega Camerupt walls this team. I'm thinking Gastrodon is my last Pokemon. Yeah, I'm going to go with Gastrodon, just because, I get walled pretty easily by that Rotom Wash, and with Mega Camera spamming Heat Wave and my Gastrodon able to protect my Camerupt, it should be interesting. He's definitely going to bring Rotom Wash, and I forgot to write his team down. So the Gengar is the big threat here. Obviously, it probably provides support with Taunt to counter Trick Room. We also have that Scissor, which is interesting. Trying to write this team down. My opponent doesn't really have a good answer to Mega Camerupt once it gets Trick Room up, because Mega Camerupt is just able to sweep the Heatran, the Brachion. It does a lot to the Gengar. It can one-shot Scizor and one-shot the Salamence if it's depending on the bulk. So obviously, Camerupt will be the game factor. No matter who he leads, I'm pretty much guaranteed a free Trick Room up, unless he leads Terrakion and Gengar and starts spamming Rock Slides, which isn't fun. But hopefully that won't happen. I would expect Scizor to lead, to be honest, Scizor and Gengar. But I'm going to lead Cofagrigus and Amoonguss against my opponent's Rotom Wash and Salamence. Okay, very interesting lead by my opponent. However, I am fine with this, as I'm pretty much guaranteed a free Trick Room off. I'm going to Trick Room here. I'm going to protect with my Amoonguss, just because I know my Cofagrigus can take a double edge. Yeah. I don't want to lose Amoonguss early on either, just because Amoonguss, it's my really only big way to counter Rotom Wash, just because Rotom Wash can get annoying. I probably should have went for the safe Rage Powder in case he decided to go for the double target into Cofagrigus, but I kind of feel like Cofagrigus can live both these attacks. I might not have a Citrus Berry to heal back after a double edge, but Cofagrigus, if you guys don't know, it's quite bulky, a base 145 defense, which is pretty impressive. One of the bulkiest defensive monsters in the game, with a base 105 special defense, but a base 58 HP stat. As we're going to see Rotom Wash switch out into Heatran. Interesting switch by my opponent, but I am fine with that. The Salamence is going to Mega Evolve. This means he cannot knock out my Cofagrigus, because I know my Cofagrigus can live a double edge from Salamence. It's pretty much a fact, as Amoonguss is going to protect here. And let's see what this Salamence goes for, as it goes for the return into the Amoonguss slot. Perfect, as I set up my Trick Room. So that was honestly a perfect turn. I would expect a... I'm wondering what I should do now. I could switch out either one of them right now. However, I think I'm going to switch out my Cofagrigus into my Camerupt. And I think I'm going to Spore the Salamence slot. Yeah. Seems like a pretty safe play, to be honest. I need to dominate in Trick Room. Obviously, the lead that I chose, it's very safe to set up Trick Room. However, it doesn't have much offensive pressure, and my opponent can stall out the 4 turns easily with some protection switching out. Camerupt going to come out here. And let's see what my opponent went for. As he did not protect at all, I'm going to get the Spore off onto this Salamence, which is huge. As we see the Heatran going for the Heat Wave, which I'm absolutely fine with, as Camerupt eats it up. Amoonguss is able to take that relatively well, and I can always switch out with Regenerated Health. However, Amoonguss does get burned. However, I carried a Lumberry on Amoonguss. The reason for a Lumberry on Amoonguss, in case I ever face Smeargle. But that is perfect. We're probably going to see Heatran withdraw into Rotom Wash, and the Salamence is probably going to stay in. So I'm going to Spore the Heatran slot and Hidden Power Ice this Salamence. It's kind of interesting how he didn't go for the double protect first turn. But to be honest, it's working out in my favor, as I got the free Spore off onto the Salamence. Now I can HP Ice it, and the Heatran is going to either fall asleep, or whatever switches out will be taking a first turn. Will be falling asleep, and will have to take a first turn of sleep. So honestly, things could not have worked out any better for me. However, my opponent can come back if Hidden Power Ice does not KO the Salamence, which it should, to be honest, because Mega Camerupt with max special attack versus a Mega Salamence. We did see Hidden Power Ice KO the last Salamence. However, it was in normal form. So we'll see. Camerupt is going to Mega Evolve here, and no switch outs from my opponent. Maybe just the Safe Protect. Yes, we do see the Safe Protect, and I'm fine with that, to be honest. As I get the Hidden Power Ice off onto the Salamence, which should KO, to be honest. That's a knockout, so Salamence is out of the way. And I'm wondering what he has in the back. I'd probably say, who would he bring out? I think he would say Rotom Watch as a switch initiative, so we're probably going to see my opponent's last Pokemon here, unless he has Gengar in the back, and Rotom Watch bringing it out would make sense, actually. As we actually do see Rotom, so I'm going to assume Gengar is the last Pokemon. I'm going to Earth Power the Heatran, and how do I want to do that? To be honest, I feel like I get a free switch into Gastrodon here. Yeah, I can get a free switch into Gastrodon, so I'm going to switch on to Gastrodon and Sporty Heatran. Since Heatran's the one that's threatening my Amoonguss right now, and if he goes for the Hydro Pump, you just get a... He's probably going to switch on to Gengar, I would assume. He is going to withdraw his Heatran out into Gengar, who has the Levitate, so that's what I was assuming from turn 1. As I do get the Spore off onto the Gengar, which is really nice, and I do get a well, he can't Hydro Pump. Which he does, but Storm Drain. Which I'm absolutely ecstatic about, as now I can just Muddy Water and Giga Drain the Rotom. And Rotom Wash can't touch any of my Pokemon. He's actually going to forfeit, which, I don't know, seems disappointing, to be honest, as that was a really short battle. However, I did play well. To be honest, I knew what my opponent was going to do, and I just took advantage of that. I saw he had no way to really counter my Mega Camerupt as long as I had Amoonguss and Gastrodon supporting it, drawing away Hydro Pumps from that Rotom Wash. Then my Mega Camerupt basically swept his team, as you guys saw. So, did you guys enjoy this VGC episode? Where actually, I think I'm almost 18, I think I'm like 1887 after that battle, or something like that, and I might actually play a few games off camera, just to see if I can get into that 1900 goal. But anyway, this was James Baek, JamesSpeed1, signing out. Don't forget to follow me on my social medias, check out the rest of my VGC series, and yeah, catch you guys later. Oh, and I apologize for the short video today.